You know what Paul said? I found myself guilty before God. He said, as touching the law, I was blameless. He said, but the law said one thing in it that I couldn't get past, and it said, thou shalt not covet. And he said, even though I knew that I had never actively done the wrong that many others had done, and I could look at myself in the mirror of the law and say, wow, what a good guy you are. He said, I had to understand that if you're guilty of one part of the law, you're guilty of it all. And he said, I was guilty of one thing. It made me a sinner. I acknowledged my sin. He said, I had to acknowledge I was covetous. Even if I hadn't taken my neighbor's goods, I wanted them. Even if I had never committed adultery, I'd wanted to in my heart. Jesus said, if you look upon a woman with lust, you committed adultery already. And it goes both ways, by the way. It's not just men to women. It'd be women to men, or men to men and women to women. Yep. We live in a world that our sin, we oftentimes want to try to suppress it rather than confess it. Sin will never be suppressed forever, but it can be confessed and forsaken, and we can find mercy. Paul said, man, I found myself guilty before God. And as he heard the preaching of Stephen, as he had understood who Jesus was, he had been trying to push aside all the things that God was dealing with him about. But one day on the road to Damascus, he saw a bright light and he heard a voice out of heaven. He fell off his animal and he heard, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? He said, who art thou, Lord? He said, I'm Jesus whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. You know, when we have the law given to us, it shows us our sin. But when we have the law given to us and presented to us, and then we see the gospel on top of it, and we know that somebody, the only righteous one that could, took our place on the cross and died our death, there's something deep down inside of us that says, I still want to live in rebellion, and yet I know that I shouldn't because somebody took my place. Somebody died my death. Somebody made a difference for me. And if I'll trust him, I can believe.